It's council's pleasure tonight, after the presentations on the evening session, to again help get this information out. We'll have a lot of people here, and also another part of the meeting that's televised. If you're interested, I would be able to go through this information again and announce it tonight after our presentations, and I'll take your direction on whether you want to proceed with that or not.
It sounds good, and remind me when we get to that point. And if it's 2:30 in the morning, you'll still do it, right?
He's hoping
Just
to do
joking.
It before.
Yeah,
Oh, you wanna do it
I
at
have strategically
7:30?
timed this before the public hearings. If you, yes,
So I'm going to put you up before public comments, maybe? And
it'll be right after. I'm proposing to be right after the presentation by the university.
Okay, perfect. That way I won't forget. Sounds good. Anyone else? City Attorney.
Oh, I have no items.
Great, thank you. Oh, yes, Mr. Moore?
Yes, there's going to be the 22nd Annual California JPIA Risk Management Education Forum. That conflicts with like a city council meeting, an airport authority meeting, and some other things for me. It'll be in Santa Barbara, which is close by. We don't always get that. But Mr. Petropoulos, are you going to attend that?
Either myself or one of my staff will attend.
Okay, because you can bring back some stuff for a little bit of it.
Yes, we've already signed up and we're ready to go.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have several items to take care of during our break between sessions, but I first need to call to order the special meeting of the Camarillo City Council. So that is called to order. And then with that, I would ask that the city attorney announce the various closed session items.
Yes, we have three real property items. They're all authorized by Government Code Section 54956.8. There's the Hotel Conference Center site, and that's the negotiating parties are with the MEAN companies, and the agency negotiators are listed in the agenda under negotiation, price, and terms of payment. The second real property item, the negotiating party is Meyerstein Trust. That property is located at northwest of Lewis Road and Las Posas Road intersection. And then the other real property item, which is the subject of the special meeting, is the former courthouse. And the negotiating parties are the Ventura County Transportation Commission. We have one other closed session item, which is a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, the number of potential cases is 1.
Thank you very much. So with that, we will recess until our 7:30 session. So if anyone is in the audience for the 7:30 session, we will be back, and the item on the agenda is the general plan amendment referral request, and that has to do with the Camarillo Springs Golf Course. So with that, we are adjourned, we are recessed, and we will be back at 7:30. I don't believe that if they do the study, they're going to be able to overcome some of the problems, and I think the biggest one is the issue of the flooding. I personally have seen white caps on that out there as you come down the grade, and there were literally white caps on that. And you look at areas, and let's just go to Houston and look at the homes that were in the worst shape were those that were built somewhere they probably shouldn't have been built, because they were right there when, as soon as the flood was going to happen, they were the first to go and to flood the worst. And what's that old saying that you can't fool Mother Nature? The rivers always go back where they originally were, and those are the ones that flood. So if indeed this, and it sounds like it is going to be referred, but the studies better, they're going to have to spend an awful lot of time trying to figure this one out, because the flooding out there's tough. The other one, the issue that has to be addressed, is traffic. We have the on-ramp going north from Camarillo Springs is not meant to hold as many people probably that use it now, and to add another 300 people, 600 people, it's going to have to be approved, so whether they could afford to do that as well. A couple of other things that I've heard that I would really like you to look at and make sure that are in there, and I'm assuming most of these would be, But I really have a concern who's going to maintain the open space, and that has to go in the financial study, and it also has to go into how in the future we're going to be able to be assured that all of this is going to be accomplished. I can't imagine how 300 homes in their HOA is going to be able to afford to maintain their area and come in and have to maintain all that open space. Financial, and the dog park. Financially, I don't know how you could put that burden on 300 homes. So that really has to be a piece of that financial study. You know, I don't know how you could do it. Let's see what else we have in my list here. I want to be sure we talk about the traffic. We got that. I really would like to see us talk about the single story versus the picture shows mostly two-story homes. So I want to make sure that's part of the analysis, because I think if indeed this is going to be a senior project, that is in the best interest of the city of Camarillo, because it's something that is asked for over and over and over again. Go ahead while I look at my list.
While you're looking at your list, somebody brought up that there were more parcels, this is a staff question, I guess, more parcels listed on page, big page 13 than actually is contained within those 30 acres. Is that accurate?
Yes, I believe that those APNs cover the entire 182 acres.
Then I'm thinking we don't want to be referring something that covers 132 acres if we're only going to be referring
Well,
30.
the request is only to change the land use designation on 30 and to preserve the remaining 152 acres as quasi-public.
Right.
So that is.
Well, if they're already that, why are they asking for a change on it?
This is just the property in question. So the entire project site is 182 acres,
Okay.
of which only 30 acres is proposed to be changed from quasi-public to low-medium density residential.
So, but you have to study the whole in order to see how.
Yes, because they still plan to reorient and analyze golf and flooding and everything else on the
Okay.
remaining 152 acres.
Okay.
And it's
Thank you.
very clear that it's only the 30 that's being.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to analyze 182 acres, but only 30 acres are proposed for residential development.
And only 30 are proposed for zone
General
change.
plan change.
Correct.
General
General
plan.
plan and zone, yeah.
But nothing, even if you wanted to go to something else, retail, commercial, industrial.
Well, the clubhouse and golf course technically is commercial, but yes,
It's
to
already
answer
there
your
doing it.
question, it's allowed under the quasi-public general plan.
Quasi-public, okay. But it's because it's a golf course.
Right.
A public golf course, yes.
Okay. I think we've heard, the ponds, I think that's something that needs, and that goes along with the wildlife and the wildlife corridor. That's something that you don't see in a lot of our studies that come through, but it's really got to be more so than we normally see because of the area that it is. And if it's going to cut off that wildlife corridor, where are they going to go and how are you going to handle that?
One more, can I
Certainly.
add to that? I'm concerned that what happened in the past years could happen again in the future, and that's why I need like that looked at. Everything grew up in those ponds, no one cleaned it. And it did cause some of the water to rise more because it didn't give it that pond effect. And so how can we get that, be assured that that's going to happen, this new owner, making sure that that area is cleaned periodically so it doesn't cause any flood, help add to flooding? I'd like to see what the owner's going to say about that. Not now, but when you're doing the studies.
Well, I think that the other one, and it kind of ties to what you're just saying, that, and I don't know how you address this one, but it's one of the things that bothers me the most is the long-term guarantee that this will exist, that 5 years from now, we won't be back here again because they say the golf course isn't working? Or how can we be assured that the maintenance will be there, be assured that the open space will be maintained? And so you're going to have to work at some kind of a guarantee, working through some kind of whatever to come up with those guarantees that indeed we can be assured that the plan will be the plan, not just today, but 10 years from now. And the other question I have about that is we were hearing that the current landowner is going to sell the project to Urban West. Is that when the general plan referral happens or when the change occurs?
That is a question for New Urban West.
And why I ask that question is I'd like to know what the commitment is and how do we hold them to it, that they will maintain the golf course in good repair until we work through this process. This is a really long process. It's not something quick with some of the hurdles they've got to go through. I mean, it's going to take years probably to get through this. And it's a very expensive process. So they've got to understand, and it's all on the developer, not on the city, as far as the financial piece. They've got to decide, are they willing to take that risk? And there's no guarantee if this goes forward that the referral goes forward, that the project will go forward. So it's something they have to think about. You talk about a financial analysis. Is it worth that risk? But I'm really concerned that, one, that we deal with an owner that we can work with, and two, that there truly is a commitment to keep things in good repair until something occurs.
One more thing. This hit me earlier and I forgot about it. But before they start building the houses and the homes, I think they have their new layout for the golf course finished, so that it doesn't interrupt playing golf again for another 2 years. But I think they need to have the landscape or whatever the layout's going to be for the golf course to be finished, so people can continue playing golf. So that's where I'm.
And I think that goes to even take it a little bit further, that when you come back, that you really got a good timetable and a methodology to assure that the different steps occur and that we don't do one step and then that's it. For instance, I don't think they should be allowed to build the new homes until a lot of this other improvements have been made, so that we don't end up with a situation that the homes are built and then nothing else occurs.
Right.
So those are my thoughts. Anyone else have anything to add to it? I guess when it gets down to the end, I probably tend to agree with Mrs. Craven more than the other three of you on this one, because I just personally don't think it's going to happen because of some of the natural issues out there, the flooding and the traffic and so forth. But if the community wants to go through it and we want to give it a shot, and the developer wants to pay the price, but there is absolutely no guarantee that it gets approved in the end.
I don't want to say that you guarantee maybe with us. We're not pro-development. All we're saying is, let's see you prove some of these things. And if you vote along with the same thing, all we're doing is asking for proof that they can do this in the way that everyone on this board thinks acceptable to the folks out there. I think that's the way you say it, instead of saying, more on that side. There's no sides on this one.
Well,
The sides are not there. It's whether or not you want to refer it just to be looked at. And they've been told it could be turned down.
well, I guess what I was saying is I think Mrs. Craven has probably come to the conclusion that she doesn't think it's the best. And I think that personally, I think that what we study is going to probably tell us that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got us over a barrel, and it's like, what do you do? It's because my fear is if we do nothing and we don't refer it, then what's going to happen?
Yep.
Code enforcement can keep it from looking too bad, but we can't force him into operating a golf course, and so it makes it very, very difficult.
Want to do a motion?
Okay.
Anyone else? Anything to add?
I'll move that we do refer this for further study with all of the necessary verbiage that has been discussed tonight with the economic plan, operation and maintenance capital, property values, traffic improvement, type of housing, open space, and various other sundry things that have been brought up by the council here. If anybody wants to add to it and willing to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, can I add to that, or
Sure.
or try it, or try it a little differently?
You certainly can.
No disrespect.
Excuse me, there's a procedural issue here. First of all, the motion that was made by Councilmember Kildee is a little bit broad when he referred to all of the discussion, because you've been talking about it for half an hour or 40 minutes here. So, and from what I heard from Councilmember Tremblay, I didn't know if you were planning on supplementing what Councilmember
Actually, I was going
Kildee
to
said.
substitute.
Pardon me?
I was going to substitute the motion.
Okay.
Come up with a different
Well,
motion.
let's do this, and then procedurally, we have a motion on the floor. I did not hear a second.
Let's see what the substitute motion is going to be first.
So for lack of a second, then that motion would not move forward.
I may not be any better at that. Let me try this one. Move to refer this item for a general plan amendment review, concurrently with the environmental analyses to be performed as part of the referral, that a fiscal impact analysis be conducted of the issue on those issues specified by the city, including but not limited to: number 1, the consideration of various sizings of the golf course; number 2, the capital and operational maintenance costs associated with the installation of improvements necessitated by the proposed project; number 3, the parties who will be specified to be responsible for these costs, and the management of the improvements that would be constructed as part of the project, including the golf course, for the long term. And I'm going to leave it that generic, for the long term. And number 4, the impact on property values within Camarillo Springs from the project. The study would be performed by a consultant selected by the city and paid for by the applicant.
Your Honor,
I'll second that motion for discussion.
yeah, I have a problem with just one thing, and that was the, what was it? God, there's so many things.
It was a long motion, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it sure was. I'm trying to think which one it was.
Show it to him in writing so he can think of it.
I don't think you'd understand my handwriting, my hieroglyphics.
You can't write? Okay. Anyway, it was one of the subjects there about the, oh, God. It wasn't the part about what the property value would be. One right before
The
that.
golf course side?
Oh, the golf course. Whether, we shouldn't be the ones studying whether or not an 9-8 or 8 or 9-12 or 18 should be there. That should not be us looking to see. If that's up to the person doing the decision that's putting the proposal forward.
No, well, respectfully, I disagree with you.
Okay,
I think
I
there
disagree.
should. No, that's fine. No, but let me tell you why I disagree. And that is, I think it's incumbent upon the city to have its own independent, a consultant which is independently selected by the city to perform that analysis, rather than, with due respect to the developer, have the developer bring forward a consultant that the developer selects to do that analysis. The city of Ventura did that with, I think it was Proforma LLC or whoever it was, and it's done independently.
That was their own golf course.
That's fine.
That wasn't the
But
private golf course.
my intent would be to have the city select that consultant, and that consultant it's just no disrespect to the developer, but that would carry much higher credibility for me if it were a consultant selected by the city but paid for by the applicant.
I agree.
Okay, we got a second?
I second it.
Okay, we're all set.
This is a tough one.
It is.
All righty.
You ready to vote?
No other discussion?
Yes.
We have a
No.
discussion?
Yes, there's no other, yes.
That was a double negative. All right, please vote. And that does pass with 4 yes, with Mrs. Craven voting no. Again, thank you all for coming, for being engaged in your community, and it's not yet, so keep engaged.
I'm going to show this.
Adjourn?
Are we adjourned? We're adjourned now.
And unless there's any other business before us, we are also adjourned.
If it's council's pleasure tonight, after the presentations on the evening session, to again help get this information out, we'll have a lot of people here, and also another part of the meeting that's televised. If you're interested, I would be able to go through this information again and announce it tonight after our presentations, and I'll take your direction on whether you want to proceed with that or not.
It sounds good, and remind me when we get to that point. And if it's 2:30 in the morning, you'll still do it, right?
He's hoping
Just joking.
Yeah,
Oh, you wanna do it
I
at
have strategically timed this before the public hearings. If you, yes,
So I'm going to put you up before public comments, maybe? and
it'll be
then-
right after. I'm proposing to be right after the presentation by the
Okay,
university.
perfect. That way I won't forget. Sounds good. Anyone else? City Attorney.
Oh, I have no items.
Great, thank you. Oh, yes, Mr. Moore?
Yes, there's going to be the 22nd Annual California JPIA Risk Management Education Forum. That conflicts with like a city council meeting, an airport authority meeting, and some other things for me. It'll be in Santa Barbara, which is close by. We don't always get that. But Mr. Petropoulos, are you going to attend that?
Either myself or one of my staff will attend.
Okay, because you can bring back some stuff, a little bit of it.
Yes, we've already signed up and we're ready to go.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have several items to take care of during our break between sessions, but I first need to call to order the special meeting of the Camarillo City Council. So that is called to order. And then with that, I would ask that the city attorney announce the various closed session items.
Yes, we have three real property items. They're all authorized by Government Code Section 54956.8. There's the Hotel Conference Center site, and that's the negotiating parties are with the Meehan companies, and the agency negotiators are listed in the agenda under negotiation, price, and terms of payment. The second real property item, the negotiating party is Meyerstein Trust. That property is located at northwest of Lewis Road and Las Posas Road intersection. And then the other real property item, which is the subject of the special meeting, is the former courthouse. And the negotiating parties are the Ventura County Transportation Commission. We have one other closed session item, which is a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, the number of potential cases is 1.
Thank you very much. So with that, we will recess until our 7:30 session. So if anyone is in the audience for the 7:30 session, we will be back, and the item on the agenda is the general plan amendment referral request, and that has to do with the Camarillo Springs Golf Course. So with that, we are adjourned, we are recessed, and we will be back at 7:30.